So it is great to speak today, as always. Great to speak with Dean Jackson, CEO at HUUB. Dino, how are you doing?
I'm all right, Gary. Yourself?
Pretty good. It's Friday, isn't it? I think. Yeah.
It is Friday, and I've just been out and done a bit of shopping, so I've got me buzz.
You've got shopping buzz. Is that what happens?
To go and buy something. Just support the high street.
I like it. Or just support your addiction to shopping.
It could be that, and denim and trainers. It could well be that, mate.
Denim. You're all denim, yeah?
No, I won't do all denim. I ain't quo, but I've got this thing for collecting pairs of jeans and only wearing two. And the same with my trainers. I've got cupboards full of trainers, but I'll only wear one pair of boots. It's just nuts, mate. That
is an insight into your world, and I'm glad.
There you go. You don't want to get too much insight. It's wrong.
Well, hopefully we'll have some insight over the next few minutes. So, talking today about crowdfunding, which is quite interesting and quite exciting. So, you've been teasing a bit in recent weeks. You had this forward little tease that you had, and now you confirmed that you're going ahead with a crowdfunding campaign. So, maybe can you start off by just talking a bit around your new push with Crowdcube and how it came about?
Yeah, sure. It's we have the opportunity. I'm a big believer, like we all love competition and we love sport and we love endurance, and I grew up watching athletics in the 80s. And if Steve Ovett or Seb Coe or Cram, and we'll only talk about those British greats because we were so proud of them, coming off the bend and they had the race won, they didn't cruise it with, a 5 meter gap. They just pressed for the line. And that's where HUUB are as a business right now. It's been, lockdown's been good to us because we've been inventive, imaginative, creative, nimble, not sat on our hands. And we feel we have a gap and an opportunity, and we just want to go forward. And we looked at the several ways we're doing that and funding that. And, I was always warned off crowdfunding, and a friend of mine, their business recently did it, an HUUB kit.
All right.
And I asked about the experience, and it seemed to be a challenging but pleasurable experience, especially the fact that you can bring in your audience. Sure, there'll be some investors through the Crowdcube opportunity, but before that, we can go to our own database and it's almost like a thank you for supporting us. Come join us. It's really opening it up. It's opened my eyes as to the different channels of investment.
Yeah, fascinating. So you're kind of giving. So this isn't a distress thing. This is because as you're looking at this from a funding of growth. We'll come on to what you do with the money down the line in the conversation. So it's very much about giving a bit. You sort of see it as more like giving that sense of your customer base having a sense of ownership in the business. Is that the way that you're sort of viewing it?
Yeah,
sort of.
It really is. We looked into the whole crowdfunding piece. And every channel you look down, the excitement is that actually your customers come on the journey with you. And it's our customers who are most important to us. And you look to for feedback and direction, and they shape your business. So actually, why shouldn't they be able to share in it? We've been a profitable business. We are profitable. As you said, this isn't distress at all. This is our Seb Coe even faster to the finish line. And we've had some opportunities during the last 7-8 troublesome months, and certainly like cycling. We were debating how much of a place we deserved in cycling. We have the Watt Bike team that's the very pinnacle, and we have the real fast stuff. And it was by working with different partners that we put a more broader proposition out there, and it's done really well. And it just seems to have hit the right note on value and design. And so, well, okay, then maybe we should have challenged ourselves a bit earlier on pushing that channel. And now it's moving, it's motoring. Yeah, just keep on it. Yeah.
So how do you see the customer as investor? How do you see them fitting in the business? Do they have a say? I mean, obviously, if you get hopefully thousands upon thousands of customers sort of buying into it at whatever level, is there a level whereby they can sit in one of your annual meetings or have a bit more input in terms of the way the business goes forward?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the investment can start from £25 up to, sky's the limit. I would love everybody who puts £25 in to come to our sales meeting, but I probably struggle for anywhere big enough, and the sandwich and tea and coffee bill would be horrendous.
You've got Derby County around the corner. I mean, it's possible.
Yeah, I'd like to say, you know, that we'll never get anywhere near the audience at a Derby County game. We're probably greater than a Notts Forest, but you know, that's just where we live.
Other
and
teams
I won't go anywhere near Leeds because that'll upset Johnny Brownlee if I start talking about Leeds. But no, there is levels. We've built a whole incentive program that on what you put in, you get a one-off discount back. You get a lifetime discount on products as well. And at thresholds, there's different benefits. And there is an opportunity to join us every year at our sales meeting, which we have May in the UK or abroad, and meet our athletes. You know, those lovely athletes and ambassadors that we work with, and they're loyal to us and we're loyal to them, and they've really helped build the brand and the personality. We'll go for a ride with them. And we can't guarantee Johnny and Alistair will come to everyone. It will be Jess and Georgia. It could be all of them. It could be a mix. But it is out there, the opportunity to come and talk to us. I think anyone who knows me or knows the business, that if anyone wants to talk to me, I will speak to them, you know, investor or not. And, you know, a lot of the time they want to tell you where you're failing. You could be better, which is a tough one to take on the chin, but you have to. So, yeah, there won't be, you know, a chance for everybody to, you know, to ring me every day. But there will be vehicles. But as I said, you know, my email's always open. My daughter looks after my emails and makes sure I get back to everybody as quick as I can.
Well done, her, definitely. And so do you have like rewards? Is the way that Crowdcube works? Is that right? So there are, having looked at other campaigns, because Lacole did one, Outkit have done one.
Yeah.
A number of brands within our space, within the endurance category, but actually been really successful and oversubscribed. Yeah. Do you have like these sort of tiered rewards set up that
yeah, so and I've got it, forgive me for not knowing off by heart, but we started off with a fun run and went all the way through to Ironman and Extreme and kind of, you know, getting different levels. We've refined that and we're looking at, you know, it's very much a medal base, so bronze all the way through to platinum, and then like a good old American Express card, you can have the black one at the top. And you know, if you put, for example, if you invest £10,000, then you get 30% discount for life. There's a 40% one-off discount. You get a cycle jersey, bib shorts, a full cycling kit to show that you are in the HUUB Owners Club. You get an exclusive wetsuit, and that will be a Brownlee Agilis in unique Owners Club colours. And you give us that back with 250 quid every year or whenever you want, and we'll give you a new version of that. And so there's a constant benefit chain to be had. And then let's not forget that all being well, the growth in this space, what we're seeing in the world and more activity and more leisure, any money put in, I feel very confident. I can't guarantee it. You know, investments can go up as well as down and all the small print. But, you know, you're
going to have to watch what you say from now on, aren't you?
I have to, you know. If I have a long lunch break, there could be an investor clocking me. I have to be careful.
Mr. Disclaimer, Dean Disclaimer Jackson.
The disclaimer. Let me have a long lunch break. But the thing for me is this is my pension. This is my future. So it's not just a case of I'm running a company for someone else. This is me, and this is everything that I've learned in the industry and thriving for. So I feel very confident that there'll be some great rewards in 3, 5, 10 years time, however long it may take to hit a truly great landmark and move to another level.
Yeah. So in terms of the types of investors you're looking at, you've got your existing customers who can go 25 up to 10K or more, as you say. So at what point would you get into the annual meeting? Is there a particular level?
Yeah. To get into the annual meeting, you'd probably be looking at spending about £5,000.
Okay.
But, and that's I understand that's quite a chunk of money. But if you look at some of the multiples and the multipliers that the leisure space and certainly the sportswear brands have been looking at recently, you can certainly see, and any analyst will see 3 to 5 years time, that could have a significant growth. Certainly better than any interest rate you'd like to think currently out there.
Well, this is going to be my next question. This is going to be my next question because interest rates are low. In the UK, Bank of England is asking if banks are ready for negative interest rates.
Yeah.
So from an investment perspective, clearly stocks, as you say, are volatile, can go up, can go down. But do you see this as an opportune time to be doing this initiative, or are you a little bit apprehensive about doing it in the current climate? Because obviously we have economy, in the background amongst all of this?
Yeah, and it's a great question, Gary, because is there ever a right time?
Yeah.
Because if we weren't in lockdown and everything was wonderful and interest rates were, a lot higher, then why would you perhaps want to do it? Maybe due to the current environment and interest rates what they are, that's a greater opportunity. What's happening in the leisure market, and it's an interesting one, and it's even more so. It's a bit like you've created a painting and you show all your friends and say, "Would you like it?" And they'll go, "Yeah, it looks brilliant." And behind your back they're going, "That's minging. That's a painting I would never hang on my wall." So it's is there a right time? And also certainly in my head, it's I'm always striving to be better and better and better. And you kind of hope that it's just an exciting proposition for somebody. And as you say, there's going to be people losing jobs, which I really do feel for, really do, because I've been there and I've lost jobs in the sports industry, and it really is awful and gut wrenching. We're lucky; we've actually taken staff on towards the end of lockdown, so we're kind of growing that. So I think there's always going to be a positive and minus, and when's the right time? I don't think there is, Gary, ever a right time. You just got to say, let's just go for it and give it a go.
Yeah, but in terms of your business and the trajectory you've been on during lockdown, so I'm getting a sense that you've done well in a number of different areas. So you mentioned cycling earlier, so be good. Cycling, I think, is a really interesting departure for the, well, not departure, but expansion for the HUUB brand. The product has a really nice aesthetic to it. That's just my personal opinion. And with that as an area, do you sort of see other sort of growth areas? So I'm putting my investor hat on here. Anyone who might be watching this who would want to part with whatever money they have, what would be sort of the high growth points that you have experienced and you would expect to experience going forwards?
Yeah, I think the obvious ones for us when we started thinking about this, and even thinking about it previously in previous discussions, was the two biggest markets are the USA and Germany. And we've just never had the right time and the right support packages to give support to those countries. We now have a dedicated member of our sales team who's on our books, looking after Germany and surrounding territories and engaging beautifully with the stores out there and understanding their needs and taking out that middle layer of distribution in Germany. And we're shipping direct in, and that's having some fantastic results. And when you consider that's the second biggest market in the world, and we're not really
for triathlon specifically.
Triathlon. And then the USA, where we've had great support, but we'd like to put more money in it to support it. The crowdfunding will help us support our current distributor out there, engage with some athletes and some incentives, and really put a stake in the ground in the biggest market in the world. So from an investor, we're not playing in the two biggest ponds properly or very well, and that's not been a failure. That's because we've done very well in the UK market and other parts of the world. So I think that's a huge opportunity for us. And then the cycling pie, it's a big pie in cycling, and yes, there's lots of brands. But when I came into triathlon, there was 48 wetsuit brands in Europe, and I'd say now, we're probably a clear number one. You being the king of research and can probably nod or shake your head differently.
I'm nodding,
I know we would have no doubt used some of your research to validate this, well, we have done. But I feel that, we've shown that with a different approach and a different thinking, you can go into a cluttered marketplace and put your head above the parapet and stand proud and stand different. And I think there's some things we could still bring to cycling, but there's also the triathlon and open water swimming world. We've seen a huge increase in open water swimming. Our female wetsuit sales are up 68%. And that's just a great opportunity. If racing clothing sales are down because there's no racers, but open water wetsuit sales are up, and when everything's come back into line, there should be the cake, the icing, the cherry, and another cherry, hopefully on top of it. And it's just a case now of not only us, but the whole industry to keep that engagement and to keep open water swimming and any excitement in swim, bike, or run of those elements. How do we turn that into triathlon or grow the individual sports?
No, I think
long answer to that question. Sorry about that one.
No, it's a good answer. It's a longish but good one. I mean, long is good. It's fine. In terms of the market, as you say, the one thing that lockdown has definitely provided is an uptick in run participation and cycle participation, particularly, as well as open water swimming, as you say. The irony seems to be that running events well, certainly the big mass participation marathons in particular will almost be last in the queue when racing comes back. So smaller events, whether that's an ultra distance or a 5K, should be okay at some point, obviously, depending on where you are in the world. So you've got this influx of runners, and we know from the research that we've done that within triathlon, the majority of triathletes come into the sport from a running background. We always have this number of 56%, isn't it? 56% of triathletes were runners beforehand. Yeah. And so looking at the market opportunity and the growth opportunities, specifically for triathlon, where obviously the home of your business is, if you like, do you see that triathlon is actually well placed? Because it does seem that triathlons, by their very nature, are more socially distanced. You're in the water, you have waves, you can obviously distance people in transition. So it does seem that a number of triathlon events in the UK, we have Ironman 70.3 Arizona this weekend, starting, those races are coming back. And so do you think that actually this influx of runners might actually, sooner than they may have expected, have translated into people doing triathlon races in the next sort of 12 to 18 months, perhaps? It's conjecture, but we welcome your thoughts on that. Yeah,
you'd like to think so. And 2 weeks ago, I did the London Marathon in Derby. So it was the Barbados London Marathon version, if you like.
Congratulations. Yeah.
And, it was wonderful to do. And I applaud HUUB and the team at London Marathon for going to the effort and the app and getting it out there so we could still participate. That did get me thinking, actually, that you could have the real London Marathon and a virtual one at 2 different times of the year or the same time of the year and increase participation, or at least keep that participation alive. But what it did do, it got me into thinking about racing and even more training and getting even fitter as we do. And then you have the Outlaw, and Ian Hamilton and the team put on a fantastic Outlaw event. And sure, there was lots of dropouts and, not quite the numbers everyone would love to have there. But it was so exceptionally well managed, and Blenheim Triathlon, that I think you're right. You've got these bigger challenges. I hope the lack of park runs isn't going to put people off, because that's a huge amount, thousands, tens of thousands of people every week doing something. But I think if you're going to be looking, what can I do? Where can I go? What activities can I undertake? And triathlon will be out the gate early. And we're very fortunate in the sport of tri that we can pluck from swim, bike, run. And yes, the swim pull element is a lot smaller than the largest, which is the run. But there's just so many people out there doing it. It's not because Boris has said do it. I think we all needed a reason to do it, and lockdown and time with our families. Sundays for me used to be go out on my bike and then go shopping. Well, the shopping stopped, so we'll all go out on our bike and we'll meet friends. And I just feel I completely agree with you. Triathlon's really well set. I did go and see her Spirit group, friend Mel Berry put on a triathlon. It was a Go Tri, a British Tri. I was always a bit cynical if you could pull off the same excitement without the whole big gantry and sound system. And it was really humbling what they pulled off. And to see first timers come out the water and go, that was incredible. And only 100 or 200 meter swim. But that was enough. That was the excitement and the buzz that you get from an Ironman. These athletes have got from a 20-minute activity spell. So it is there. And I think if we lower expectations and have some events, and we might have to wait a bit longer, and check-in might be a bit different. It might be more on the app. And there won't be someone giving you the medal or flashy fireworks at the finish, but you'll still get the buzz. Yeah, I think we are well set.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I suppose at a kind of macro level with the events themselves, I suppose the worry is, and this will affect your brand probably more in a tangential way, that how many events, and certainly looking at the US market and a couple of other countries around the world where those events are really hurting. And I suppose the question is, how can brands support those events? What can athletes do? Because some of these businesses are struggling financially because they've not been able to put races on. They're carrying forward athletes into next year. They are hurting in a number of ways. Is there anything that you see that your business's role within that? And this, I suppose the other question linked to that is, can we weather this storm and come back stronger?
Yeah, I think there's probably a lot of race organisers and race organisations need to look at their motivation for doing it and the profit line on it. And, you know, you may have to stabilise for 3 years and not be as profitable as a race organiser, but just survive and make sure you can keep the staff on, but just make sure you've got the numbers. But I also think that gone are the days of, Dean, would you like to be the swim sponsor for this race series? Because actually, no, because what you're asking of me is too much money. I've got to put the time in and the resource. But if a race organizer, and again, it was just witnessed at Outlaw, Ian said, does anybody want to come? So let's bring lots of brands in. Let's bring competing brands in. It doesn't matter, and create little expos. And I think we'd all love to get back to connecting with our audience. And little expos at lots of races allows us to just say to a team, get in the van and you're going to have a few weekends away, and we're just going to get back to talking to our customers. And I think that would be the race organisers helping themselves, and the brands would, well, I'm sure they'd relish it, because this selfish channel of, no, that race and communication's mine, are gone, because we can all communicate with this triathlon world through different ways, be it GTN, 220, you know, whatever it may be. We have in our own databases, we have ways of doing it without having to pay, sometimes through the nose, to be a swim sponsor or run sponsor or bike sponsor.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I think it's this, the market seems to have gone through a massive reset, doesn't it? And I think that whether you're an apparel company such as yourselves, obviously an event organizer, you need to be thinking more innovatively. And so, yeah, I think that for your business, you've always been, you know, seem to have been good with that. You have been innovative. You've driven innovation, the whole research, science, reality sort of strapline. Is there any sort of final comment you might have into that, just to say, if someone's thinking, oh yeah, I might put 50 quid in,
yeah,
or I might go for a curry. What would you what would you say to that individual?
Yeah, well, I would be saying, I came to this as an athlete that likes to win, and I'll do whatever it takes to win and beat the competition. And if that means investing in athletes, the good of the sport, and most importantly, the research and development, and maybe lifting a few stones that others don't care to, I will lift those stones up and we will find the benefits. But we are here to support this industry as well, because without the industry, we won't survive. And so many down that supply chain to this industry won't survive. So, you know, we're here to drive the industry, to drive the sport, and also to look after ourselves. And we always have done. And we look after the people within it. And it's, yes, it is about bottom line. It's about being profitable. But if you do the right things along the way, then that also comes. Big believer in, you can't take away from an industry without giving back. I'm a huge believer. You've got to give what you take.
Yeah, fascinating. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the next step in your evolution. And yeah, thanks ever so much for your time. It's been a pleasure as always.
Thank you, Gary. Appreciate it.
Take care of yourself, and maybe have a beer this evening because it is Friday.
You're right, and I'll go and try my new jeans on.
Do that, definitely. Take care of yourself. Catch up soon.
Thanks,
Cheers.
Gary. Cheers.
Bye.